John, the right result on Saturday night, but a frustrating performance.
No, I think the only thing was frustrating was we didn't score more goals. I think, when you look at overall, we created 16 opportunities. And I suppose we certainly had 7 or 8 really, really good chances. We looked at it this morning, we had a discussion about it. But the pleasing thing about it was that, I think the main difference between this year and last year is that we are creating a lot of chances. And, last year we weren't, this year we are. And I suppose, look, we got 5 against Limerick and 2 against Galway. The frustrating thing was the opportunities were there, we didn't take them. But look, at the most pleasing thing is we are creating opportunities. It's good. And I keep saying that, this time last year, if we look back, maybe, we remember the home game to Bray down here when they're keeping with fantastic saves and we dropped 2 points. So it was important for us to get out with the 3 points. And I think sometimes, I keep saying this league is very competitive, and I think maybe sometimes people are looking at games, looking at, how many goals you're going to score. I think we have to get back to reality in that, when you win, and you have to be happy with a win. And while you might things to go better, you might want to score maybe a few more goals. At the same time, when you win, you get the same 3 points. And, it looked with 10 minutes ago, it was difficult. We hadn't put away the opportunities, but thankfully, DJ, got the winner, and we all went home happy. And it was probably frustrating from the sideline point of view because we had the opportunity, we didn't take them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we came out with 3 points. And in this league, it's always difficult. And I suppose we're back to second in the table. And, we're happy with our start after 5 matches.
The element of surprise, you would agree, is gone now for this year. And I suppose to start the season last year, the team was very settled, out of necessity, I'd say, because you just didn't have the depth.
Yeah.
But there were a few eyebrows, defenders would have eyebrows raised on Saturday night with Dan Murray playing the midfield.
Yeah, but you see, I suppose the one thing is that, since I've taken over in the club and with John Cotter and Phil Harrington and Billy Wood, I've received tremendous support, and we've had a tremendous fan base, and we've a lot of supporters came back to follow the club, and and I suppose people have to trust in me that we're working hard every day, and that we're putting the team out every week to win. And you're correct, and obviously the element of surprise is gone, and our opposition teams are taking a different approach, and they're being a lot more defensive, and you can see that. And I see Dan training every day of the week, and obviously Colin was struggling during the week. Dan is probably the second best passer of a ball in the club. Now naturally he's been a centre back for us and has done phenomenally well, but it was an option we looked at because we just felt we needed the game. We just felt maybe at times against Galway we didn't move the ball quick enough, and we didn't, link the play up enough, and we just want to get past and get maybe pass over 10, 15 yards, keep the tempo up. And that is absolutely superb passer. So Colin was out, and I had no doubt about it. We'd worked very hard during the week on it, and we just told Dan to sit in there and do that. And some people said to me after they thought he was around the match. You know what I mean? Because every ball he played was, he kept the game going. He was moving it fast, and so they're the sometimes from the outside, we didn't wake up and arrive in Bray and pick Dan out of the top of our head or anything like that. We it's a lot more serious than that. You know what I mean? And we do a lot of work, and we do a lot of different combinations and options, and so I had no fear about him. Probably what did happen is that Johnny beside him ended up that Johnny probably was too defensive. We wanted to be more attack minded, and that's why tactically we brought Gavin in at half time. And the other side of that is like Gary Buckley has been out. He was out sick a number of weeks ago, and it's taken a bit of time to get back, and his energy levels have been down. But we just feel that he's beginning to come back to his high energy levels that was there. But he'd been knocked out for a couple of weeks, and sometimes people don't know that. And but we work with the guys every day of the week, and we're hands on, and we're you are right in the sense that you have to juggle things around. But ultimately, if you looked at the game against Bray, up top we had Billy, John O'Flynn, Shep, we'd Liam in the hole, and we decided at half time to bring Liam back in because maybe to try and link up the play a bit more. But the good thing was we created a lot of chances. But Dan could easily play. Dan could play centre back. He could play in the middle of the park. He probably can't play as a full back because he hasn't got the legs from that point of view. But he's still a fantastic player.
with Derry coming up at the weekend, there's kind of a twin thing really. You've Anthony Elding returning, and he got 2 goals against Drogheda at the weekend. But as well as that, it was interesting, whether you heard Peter Hutton on that last night saying they decided to go for it and throw 2 wingers on and get balls into the box for him. So that's something to kind of, I suppose you'll be very mindful of, obviously, come Friday.
Well, Derry are like ourselves in lots of ways. They're on the other end of the country and always fighting against the cause because they're travelling all the time, a bit like ourselves. And they have a very strong Derry team. You know, all lads from Derry, Letterkenny, the north. You know, and they're very much, you know, we're very close and similar clubs. And Peter's some really, really good players. You know, you have the 2 McNamees, he has McBride as centre back. Obviously, Doherty's been in goal. You know, and in the middle of the park he is McElhaney's the McElhaney brothers. He's McNamee, and obviously got Anthony up front. Now, to be fair, Anthony was always a very good goal scorer. You know, I think really he ended up in Cork last year. And while he said he wanted to be down here, I think, you know, his body language and for family reasons, he really wanted to stay back in Sligo, which was understandable. And that's really why I think, you know, when we look back at last year, why he didn't fit in early on, because I think, you know, he would have preferred at the time if Sligo had kept him, they didn't. And I think he made a rush decision. Obviously, at the time we thought it would be a great signing for us. It didn't work out that way. And but the one thing about, you know, he's back living in Sligo, he's playing for Derry. But the one thing about Anthony was that he would always score goals. And we have to be on our guard because, you know, even when he was hit down here last year for a short period of time, you could see in training he was a superb finisher. He didn't get much game time because I suppose Mark got in the team and kept them out. So you know, Derry are, you know, they've Dooley on the wing, they've Timlin. They're really, really good players and they're a very dangerous side. And you know, a couple of weeks ago they went to Pats. Budge got a goal from the halfway line. There was nothing in the match. And you know, they're always one of those sides that they'll always come have a go off you. And again, it's a really tight game, which every game is. The big thing for us is that, you know, it's a Good Friday. We're hoping we're going to have a huge crowd. The club feel that it might be our biggest crowd so far, from even over last season, because there's been so much interest and demand there that, you know, they think we might even break the 6,500, which would be phenomenal. But the crucial thing for us is that, you know, we have to be ready for the game, and, you know, we're after having a good start. We put ourselves in second, and we need to stay in there and keep the pressure on Dundalk, because even though it's a very long season, you don't want any team getting too far ahead. And but like no different than Bray last week, I've no doubt it's going to be a very, very tight game.
You must be pleased, though, 5 games in, 11 points, you'd have taken that at the start, and 4 clean sheets.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you look at it overall, we're sort of like, if, you know, someone says at the start of the season, after 5 games, you're going to have 4 games and clean sheets, you certainly take that. But I think you can see with all the top teams, Dundalk, Rovers, they're all doing likewise, and that's why you have to do that. The only thing probably is we might have had a few extra goals, but still at the same time we scored 9. You know, we're creating chances, which is a good thing. And I think in the 2 home games already in front of our own supporters against Limerick and Galway, we've been very entertaining, because obviously Limerick was a 5-0. Galway was a slow first half, but in the second half we opened them up. And I think you know, I think the crowd, our crowd are intelligent. They understand. You know, we have a very good side, a real passionate team. You know, a real, you know, I suppose, I keep saying last year was gutsy. I think we're gutsy with a bit of class, more class than it this year. And look, we're all looking forward to Friday night, because you know, we know it's going to be a huge game. Derry are a dangerous team, but still at the same time, if we play to form, I think we can win the match. And you know, at this stage of the season, even though it's early days, you can already see there's a bit of a gap opening up. You know, Sligo have had a difficult start, and they're at 2 points. You know, which is, you know, and the gap is opening up quickly. So for a team like Sligo, who have a very big budget, banked on being in the top 4, they have a bit of catching up to do. And you know, so it just shows you the gap. The league is beginning to stretch, and it's important that we stay with it.
Injuries? Any new update on Colin, Danny?
The plus is that Danny is back training with us. You know, is he available for Friday night? Probably, if he has no reaction from training this morning. Colin is, again, a 50-50. You know, because of his age and because of the guy that Colin is, you know, we communicate quite a lot, and it's one of those ones that we'll probably wait until the day before the match or maybe the morning of the match. Other than that, most of the guys are in good condition, and I suppose the crucial thing is, you have guys on the outside, I suppose, like Mark O'Sullivan coming back in. You DJ came in the last day, got the winner, and Rob Lehan on the way back training, and you've all these lads trying to see can they get a bit of game time, and they're really up the ante, which is exactly what we need. And you're quite right. Last year we probably had a 14-man panel, and those lads did fantastic for us. But there was, an element of surprise that a lot of teams didn't give us the respect that we should have got. Whereas this year is different. They are, and they're playing more defensive, and we need all the guys to be on the edge and ready to come in. And when you look at the last day, difficult game even for the likes of DJ coming on 20 minutes ago, bad conditions, weather conditions weren't good, but still popped up and got the winner, and that's what we need.
John, do you think that the Derry game on Friday is big because we have a number of kind of away games after that? We have Drogheda and St. Pat's and straight after each other after Friday.
Yeah, well, I think it's like everything else. When you're at home in front of your own supporters, it's one of those that your home form. If you can you get your maximum points throughout the season in your home games, and then start picking points away from home, you're going to be thereabouts. What you don't want to do is end up sort of dropping home points, and then it's how to put it this way, it's like you start dropping home points, invariably then you end up with maybe a draw, one or two draws away, and you're down the table. But I suppose the most important thing for us is that our support is phenomenal. The atmosphere in the Cross has been unique. I really feel it's back to the days of the mid 2000s, and the crowd are coming in early, and they're there for the warm up, and you can sense the noise level in the atmosphere, and the players can sense that. And I keep saying to our supporters, keep getting into the ground early, come in the numbers and support us, and I think it does make the difference. And the team has responded to that last year, has responded to the start of the season, and it's just important for us to make sure that we can try and take maximum points at home.
You've answered my question there already, so it's obviously something that's on your mind, John. There's a pattern developing already, John. Dundalk, Cork City, Shamrock Rovers, St. Pat's, what you would probably deem as much the top four, or starting to occupy those four places. How mindful are you each week, John, that the likes of a Dundalk, they're scoring for fun, they're not conceding anything, that they don't get away from everybody else?
Well, if I'm being honest with you, I really try to concentrate on ourselves. I keep saying to the lads, don't be looking at games, because try not to read a lot of things being said in the press, because all of a sudden you could read a paper, end up in Bray last week, and people expect you to win 4 or 5 nil. That has never happened. Never in the history of my lifetime did I ever win 4 or 5 nil in Bray, or anywhere. It just doesn't happen. It's not as simple as that, and people are disrespectful. Like Alan Matthews, a really successful manager, in this league he's in the league for 15 years, Billy, is he? Easy, and he's won trophy after trophy. This guy works his socks off, at night with these lads, and there's no rollover teams like that. So, but obviously at the same time, you are conscious that you don't want, a team pulling away and going 8-10 points clear, because then it becomes very difficult. But what we have to do is just make sure we keep focused, look after ourselves, and it's still early days, but look after our own results, and if we do that, we'll be there, and we'll stay right in there to the end. But do we discuss other teams? We don't. We discuss the teams we're playing, but we don't discuss a team that might be, Dundalk or Rovers. We discuss them when we're playing them. But do we, I'll be honest with you, after most matches, as the lads would tell you after a match, I don't even know the scores of the other games, because I'm only concerned of our own result, because ultimately that's what we can control. And but you're right in the sense that, you must, stay in there, keep your results constant, because you do know that if you slacken or start dropping points here and there, well then a gap will open up, and if it becomes too big, then you're out of the running, and that's what we can't afford to do.
Kieran, your first day up before the firing squad, and a good day to be up after getting the winner on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. It was good for me to finally, I feel like I contributed to the team, obviously getting the 3 points, and hopefully now I can get some more game time and pop up with a few more goals.
Was it difficult coming on because the conditions were horrendous, and they just didn't seem to, I couldn't see us breaking them, No,
I don't think it was difficult because of the conditions. I think because, Bray was sitting in and trying to get a point with their 10 men. which is obviously what a lot of teams will do when they play us, especially at home. But Bray are fighting for their lives down there, so I think that was more difficult than the conditions. To be honest, I didn't really notice them when I came on, so I think it was just more the opposition and the fact that they were just trying to hold us to a draw.
And how are you settling in here?
Fine. My teammates have been really good. The manager's been really good as well, and it's just an easy club to come into and settle in. And the boys can't do enough for you, so good so far.
And have you set any personal goals in terms of getting more vital goals?
I've got a few personal goals, but they're not to be aired out. But it's just literally to contribute as much as possible. If that means getting X amount of goals, that means getting X amount of goals, assists. It's just to contribute as much as possible to a successful season for the team.
How would you find like the playing in Turner's Cross, like in front of the shed in the famous Cork City?
I haven't done it that much so far, so I've played more against Cork, to be honest. So no, it's playing into that end. You can tell the fans are really behind us, and I think it intimidates a lot of other teams as well, which is good for us. So I think we just need to, like the gaffer said, do really well in our home games and pick up as much points as possible, and then we pick up points on the road and we'll be up there.
What do you expect from Derry on Friday night?
Derry are a good side. I've played against them many times. I think they'll come out, and I think they will try and win the game, which might suit us better. It'll be a bit more of an open game. I think an early goal for us would really do us good, and then hopefully we just kick on from there.
Just give us an insight into training, Kieran. Like John would have a lot of attacking options this season, so like is it difficult to kind of continue as a team in training, or as a striker? Do you get that kind of selfishness where you're trying to show John on an individual basis what you can do, so that he puts you down as the striker that's starting that actual game that weekend, or is it all based on teamwork?
There's a bit of both. Obviously, when we work towards the end of the week, we do a lot of team shape and focus on sort of the team that's going to be put out at the weekend. But there's more than enough time and stuff to show the gaffer exactly what we can do. And even coming off the bench, as I have been, I feel like my performances are getting a little bit better. So hopefully, I'll get a few more starts and a few more minutes.
Do you see like the way like Dundalk are flying at the moment? Like,
I don't want to talk about Dundalk. This is we're here to talk about Cork City.
It's been like playing forward now. How many goals do you think you've got to get during your target?
I've got a target, but I don't need to say it out. Just to contribute as much as possible. If I can get a lot of goals, like Billy got a good amount last year. Marky got a good amount as well. So obviously anything over 10 is good, but it's just as much as possible to contribute to the team. If we win 1-0 every week, you take that. It's obviously we want to score a lot of goals, but if you win 1-0 every week, you take the 3 points. It all goes to the 3 points in the table.
You've obviously talked about playing down in Turner's Cross before, but as a Cork City player now this week, how have you found settling into the club now? A couple of months in, is it living up to the expectation? How do you find Cork football and people?
Yeah, really, really supportive. I've been spoken to a few times, like while I've been out shopping or just around the town or whatever, and I've always had supportive messages and people saying really positive things, and the fans are really positive and get behind you. So that obviously helps the team, especially when we play at home, and we have a good away following as well. Shamrock Rovers, we had a good few up there, so I think the fans are really, really important towards the club.